Hey y'all, this is Allison hanging out in my space to craft, and I'm ready to do another of the sketches from Christy's Beautiful Life. This one is day 6. So let's pull out the papers and ephemera that I have pulled for this sketch. I have these American Craft multicolored letters. I have a whole bunch of florals and some different sort of teal, soft teal and pink florals. I have a cake because it's a birthday. I have some pretty sequins. I have this to use as probably as my title, Dream Big, because she's blowing out candles. So I might add the word birthday girl below that. So Dream Big Birthday Girl. And I have this beautiful piece of, it's Be Valiant sketchbook. And the sketch, let me show you the sketch. I'm sort of taking some liberties with this sketch. Make sure you can see it. So it had these two sort of blocks here, and it looks like it does have a frame. I haven't found a piece of paper to do a frame with, so I may skip the frame, but I'm using this striped paper instead of creating these stripes with paper. And then for these frames that are on here, I'm going to use some cut-aparts that are sort of frame-like. Like this one is like a frame. So I'm taking some, a few liberties with this. I have 2 photos, and I pre-picked out the cut-aparts that I want to use. I need 3 cut-aparts. So I've got 1, 2, maybe this one. My other option is to cut a frame, but I think I can make these 3 work. I also have this tag that may count for one of the frames, or I'll put it inside a frame. I think that might be better. So this should go pretty quickly. I pulled out this beautiful ribbon that is sort of the perfect tones for this as well. So I'm going to try and include some of that for a change. So I think I will speed up the video from here, and you can just watch this page come together. Should be quick. All right, so I start with cutting out the cut-aparts, and I'm just using my scissors here. And these are pretty small scissors. I had left my bigger ones, I think, downstairs. I do end up having to trim this up a bit because I didn't cut perfectly straight, but close enough. And a lot of these are also going to be covered with florals and tucked under the photos and stuff like that. So I don't have to be too particular about it. I do often struggle with cut-aparts, so I was really glad for this sketch to give me an idea of how to use them and to get 3 cut-aparts like this on one page with 2 photos and it not look too blocky, I guess. It was really good. So just trimming up the photos. I print most of my photos nowadays on my selfie printer, my Canon selfie, and I do them as a collage and create a small border and then print borderless. Sorry, big car going by outside. Now, I really would rather have the pink on the inside, but actually the pink on the outside, but I don't have enough if I double mat these photos. So I'm going to have to do the pink first, because if I had double matted them, then the pink would be too small for both of them. But I can just squeeze in a first mat for each of them. And I'm just going to, you know, adjust things. This is why I love repositionable tape. So just making a really thin pink border, and then a slightly larger one of this. It's sort of a greenish blue. And these are just scraps. I always try and start with scraps when I'm looking for photo mats and things like that. I do try and use up my scraps. I have a lot of them. And that's why I sometimes make cards out of my scraps and also go to those things first for mats. And it means that multiple collections end up on each page usually. Occasionally I stick to one, like on the bark layout, I stuck with one collection. Didn't use much in the way of scraps, but this one I got to use 2 different scraps up. So here I'm just working to cover up the any parts on these cut aparts that I don't need to show, or I'm not interested. I'm using them for the border, for the look of that frame. And now I'm just playing around with some of the other ephemera. I did, by the way, ink everything with the vintage photo, just to add a little contrast, since a lot of things are similar colors. I did, though, choose to put the blue on the peachier colors and vice versa, and the peach square on the blue, so that they would stand out more. And I put these down, and then I end up moving the whole thing up a bit. So I really probably would have been better off creating this cluster of photos and squares, not on the page, but just stick things to each other, and then figured out where it was going to live, because it gets a little crunchy at the bottom, and I end up moving things up because I've got titles to go with the bottom and more florals, and it just starts to feel a little crowded at the bottom and a little too open at the top. And I don't always get all the ephemera that I pull onto the page. In this case, I think I didn't get the little frame that I had pulled out, but I did manage to get almost everything onto the page for this layout. And this layout took me a total of less than an hour. I may have spent a little more time on the sequins at the end, just because I put a lot of sequins on this page, and it takes a little while to glue them down. But right at an hour. And that includes all this inking, all this fussing around with things, auditioning things in multiple places. So I'm trying to do some floral clusters without them looking exactly the same, but using the same florals in each one, because that's what I have. This is where I'm like, okay, it's too crowded. Let's scoot things up. I'm going to pop up the title. And that's so I can put some florals below it and above it. And I end up actually moving that floral cluster because in this one right here, in the sketch, she did not have the floral cluster there. She had it in the top right. So here I'm trying to make that cluster work. It's looking too barren. I didn't have much pulled, and I'm like, oh yeah, the flowers are supposed to go up there. But then I want a little something by the title. So just two little flowers by that title. And that also helps the clusters look different. And I'm liking the way it's coming together now. Now it feels right. And I'm just going to add my daughter's name below the Dream Big. I'd thought about doing Birthday Girl, so here's where I start to do Birthday Girl, and it's going to be way too big. It's not going to look right. So I'm like, nope. And I'm just going to do her name below it. This is in her album, so it is a little weird to do her name, but I'm okay with it. I haven't put her name on very many pages, so. And here's where I start on the sequins. I'm just going to sprinkle some around, and I will make some adjustments as I glue them down. But I'm going to go glue those down off screen and add that ribbon, and then we'll be back for you to see the finished product. Thanks a lot, you guys. Give this video a thumbs up. All right, so just to remind you, this was the sketch, and it was by Sherry Stewart. And this is my interpretation of it. I've added a whole bunch of sequins, and I also added a few pieces of that ribbon that I wanted to include. I used up some really old florals from Creative Memories, and then the rest is from that sketchbook. Collection. So there you go. Please give this video a thumbs up and go check out Christy's Beautiful Life 30 Days of Sketches on Facebook for 30 great sketches that you can make your own.